When I was 17 years old, sitting in my English class, I heard my teacher say something that probably many of you have heard before, and that was to make sure that you chase your passion and that money will follow. And then I put my hand up and asked, what if my passion is money? What's up guys, my name's Avery and I became a millionaire in 4 years, and in today's video I wanted to tell my story, some of the things that I did to be able to actually reach that golden status of millionaire, and how my life has changed and how I may think differently because of it. So to finish that story, my teacher essentially said that he had never heard that before, but if your passion is learning how to make money, then making money will definitely follow if you're learning how to make money. And that makes a lot of sense. And I'm definitely very passionate of learning new ways that I can increase my income, or honing in on ways that I already make money and increasing those income streams. And as far as becoming a millionaire, the only source that I'm going to give you today is to say, trust me bro, because I'm not going to go through an entire video of my portfolio as well as talk about my story in one video, because that's going to take too long, but I'll definitely create a follow-up video if enough people are interested. So if you are interested, comment down below. Before I talk about my story, I'd really appreciate it if you would quickly just scroll down and make that thumbs up button blue, and then I can help more and more people reach their goals of financial freedom. Starting from scratch back in May of 2018, when I graduated from college, I had a little bit of money saved up, I had a sign-on bonus, and I had a job making $65,000 a year, and I didn't really know what I wanted to do. My very first day of work, I was really excited to work super hard. I got to my desk at roughly 7:30 in the morning, and then I ended up sitting there for roughly 2 hours, maybe 2.5 hours before my boss even showed up with my computer. And once he did get there and I started getting some of the training materials that I was supposed to work on, essentially I just had to read a few PowerPoints about what insurance was for the next week or two. And because I have the reading skills of someone who is over the age of 5, I was able to get through those PowerPoints pretty quickly because insurance isn't that crazy hard to understand. And then I had nothing left to do for the rest of the week and was extremely bored. And I remember getting home from work on Friday, talking to my brother saying, oh cool, it's Friday. And at that point I was living with my brother. And then I said, and then it's Monday, and then that's 40 more years. I said it as a joke, but it definitely is the reality for a lot of people, and I knew that is not what I wanted for the rest of my life. Fast forward, I've always been interested in the idea of money, always been quite a frugal person, but I've never really understood how I could actually go ahead and make that money. Like I talked about in my English class, I was very interested in the idea of money and passionate about learning about it, but I didn't know exactly what things that I could do to earn and make a lot of money other than going to college and getting a good job, which I was always told. At the time I started my job, I got my sign-on bonus plus a $65,000 job, which enabled me to be pre-approved for a property, a duplex at $525,000, or triplex at $625,000, which is really important because I learned about the idea of investing in real estate through house hacking. So I learned about this strategy about a month after I graduated, and then I started going to a bunch of networking events where I met real estate agents, lenders, other investors that were going to help me along this journey, and then come March 2019, I was able to buy my very first house hack. Now, a house hack is essentially when you're able to buy a property and move into it, but unlike buying your primary home, you move into a property and then you rent out all of the excess space. And the advantages of this from an investing in real estate perspective is you're able to put a lot less money down than an investment property. So I was able to put 3.5% down on a $525,000 duplex instead of the 25% down that other investors would require. And this was the biggest change in monthly cash flow I had in my life up until that point. I was paying $1,100 a month to live in the apartment that I was renting, and then as soon as I moved into my place and had it all rented out and set up and stabilized, I was then making $300 a month to actually live in my house. That's a $1,400 a month difference, which definitely can make a difference in your wallet. Between the time that I read about this house hacking idea, I was very adamant about wanting to save. I was not frugal, I was extremely cheap, and I also started a side hustle of lead paint abatement that allowed me to get some cash to be able to pay for groceries as well as gas and other small expenses, so I could save every penny towards buying this property, which I was then able to do for a low down payment of $18,000. Now that might sound like a lot of money, and it definitely was for me at the time, and for sure that first bit of money is the hardest to save. Once I had that complete switch from paying $1,100 a month in rent to having $1,400 a month in better cash flow going towards my wallet, then things just got a whole lot easier from there. And because of my side hustle, as well as increasing my wages at my job, and then now having this extra money for my house hack, I was able to save another $30,000 within 1 year and then buy another property. And I just did the exact same thing. First, I refinanced my initial property from an FHA into a conventional loan, and then I had another FHA loan available where I could put another 3.5% down on a small multifamily building. This time, instead of a duplex, I bought a triplex. Once I moved out of that duplex, it started bringing me in cash flow because I was able to lower the mortgage because I refinanced, as well as increase the rent and then rent out the entirety of the unit that I was living in. So I was making roughly $1,000 a month from that property. Plus I moved into another house hack where I was still not paying any rent or towards the mortgage. So you can see just with those two investments and within a short period of time, I was able to start stacking a lot of cash and continue to do a lot more investing and make my life seem a lot easier from a financial perspective. Around this time in my life, I was still kind of bored at work. I had switched jobs a couple of times within the same company, and I started making roughly a $90,000 salary. And I was bored also because of the pandemic. I no longer had a commute, so I decided to start doing social media and YouTube specifically, which is how you're watching me here. I'll get into the social media a little bit more after I talk about some of the properties, but I really didn't make any money with social media until earlier this year, and I've been doing it for about 2 years now. It's not a substantial amount, but it's definitely money that I could live on if I wanted to. After I bought my second house hack, I moved out after a year, and instead of buying another house hack, I moved down to Durham, North Carolina, which is where I currently live. There's a lot less multifamily properties, so I ended up buying a single family property that I currently live in, and I'm doing a live and flip strategy where essentially you buy a property, you can fix it up. I bought probably the ugliest, worst property in the nicest neighborhood in the area, and I've slowly been fixing it up, and you can just live here for 2 of the last 5 years, and then once you sell it, you can sell for up to $250,000 of capital gains tax-free. And now I still had my duplex as well as my triplex, which were bringing me in monthly cash flow. And today those bring me in about $3,000 of monthly cash flow, as well as I increased my job salary and I continue to do some of the other things like on here and social media, which started bringing me in money. Now I haven't actually felt any of the effects from this property that I currently am in because I've lived here for about a year, haven't sold it, might not sell it for a little bit more than 2 years, but I have continued to invest in real estate. Earlier this year, I bought my first Airbnb in Pinehurst, North Carolina, and it's doing quite well. I have about a $2,000 a month mortgage, and I roughly get around $4,000 to $5,000 a month in revenue from the property, so that's pretty cool. That $4,000 to $5,000 revenue is kind of an average amount. I typically don't really like to say how much cash flow I'm getting from an Airbnb because it's very cyclical. In the summer, I could get a lot of money. In other months, it could be a lot less. For example, in July of next year, I already have $9,000 of bookings, and that's only for half of the month. But in the month of October, I got just shy of $4,000, so it can vary quite a bit. And I'd like to have a full year of data before I want to say exactly what the cash flow for the specific building will be. But nonetheless, it's another stream of income that is adding towards my financial abilities and really helped me become a millionaire. So I bought that property in April of 2022, and as you remember, I started YouTube in January 2021. And I started TikTok in October of 2021, where I started making a lot more short form content. Now across all my social media platforms, I have about 360,000 followers, which is pretty cool. And since February of this year, when I actually started making money on some of these platforms, I've roughly made about $50,000. Now that $50,000 comes across a number of things, the biggest thing being brand deals. So essentially I will talk about a product and they will pay me a flat rate fee in return. I also have some affiliate marketing partnerships where essentially you click the links in the description, which I'll have there, and then you can utilize or buy their product or service, and then I get paid a little bit of money for referring you to them. Some other things I have are digital products, so I sell a rental property calculator spreadsheet. If you want to get confident analyzing the numbers, check out the link below again. And I have some other things that you could buy, as well as I have a course and mentorship program where I help people buy their very first rental property, which is going awesome right now. I have 6 members and someone just got their first rental property under contract and super excited for her. Moving away from social media back to real estate, I ended up buying another property about a month and a half ago now, and this one was pretty cool for me because I bought it with private money. So I didn't actually use any of my own funds to buy this property. I partnered with other people and they brought the money and I brought my real estate knowledge as well as being able to find the deal, run the numbers, and essentially do all of the management and all of the things that other people don't want to do, but they have the money to be able to give you to do that. So it works well from a partnership perspective. And although I don't own 100% of that deal, I own a portion of that deal, and a portion of something is a lot better than everything of nothing. At this point in my life, my major income streams comprise of my real estate, which is quite steady, quite easy. I like the long-term stuff. The short-term Airbnb stuff is also quite cool, as well as my social media, which is a huge grind. I'm trying to make content all the time, every single day, so I can get more followers, attract more people to myself, as well as build my personal brand. Plus I have my W-2 day job, which is a quite steady source of income, and I don't really mind it, and it's actually pretty enjoyable too. So right when I started out of college, I was making $65,000 a year, and that money was able to kickstart me into becoming a millionaire. Now we've had pretty crazy returns in real estate over the past few years. For example, I just got my duplex that I originally bought at $525,000 appraised so I could remove the PMI, and they appraised it for $800,000 just about 4 years later. Real estate has really been the biggest driver of what has increased my net worth, but just because I'm now a millionaire doesn't really make anything any different. I'm still having a lot of fun trying to increase my income stream, so I went from that $65,000 a year to now my gross income is roughly $400,000 a year, and I'd like to be able to get to somewhere between $50,000 and $60,000 a month next year. That will really increase my income and make me feel a lot better. And it's actually funny that I say feel a lot better. I don't know why that came out. Sometimes I try to just end sentences. I actually still feel very good, very grateful about the position that I'm in, but it is interesting, even when you start earning a lot of money, not necessarily anything will really change in your life, which is what I want to touch on before I end the video. So I still live a very simple life. I probably have roughly $2,000 of expenses every single month, maybe a little bit more, but that's probably about the average. I think I made a video talking about it at some point, and if I did, I can link it up here in the description below. But essentially, the only thing that has really changed, I would say, in my life between the time I was making $65,000 a year and today is that instead of being cheap, I'm more frugal. I definitely feel more comfortable about spending money on food or taking Mia on a nice date or buying a drink for someone when I'm at the bar and not being physically stressed or ill or concerned because I have paid for something and it doesn't make sense. Like, I didn't ever think it made sense to spend $6 or $7 on a beer at a bar because I could have just drank that same thing for a lot less at home. But as I've gotten a little bit older, a little bit more wiser, I understand that friends, family, good connections, relationships are all far more important than any dollar value. So when you want to be able to spend money on stuff, on the people that you care about, that is always going to be far more important. So really all that becoming a millionaire has allowed me to do is feel less stressful about buying beer as well as spending on necessities. But I haven't really taken any of that money and bought some cool toys or anything like that. For sure, I could buy a Tesla or buy something cool or have a country club membership or spend a lot of the money that I have, but I am someone who is very interested in learning ways to increase my income. And it's definitely a lot easier to increase your income once you have more money. So I like to stack my cash, invest in myself so I can better myself and continue to grow. So really, to sum it up, real estate has been the biggest thing for me, as well as my drive and passion for wanting to increase my productivity, increase my growth, and just become a better person. And right now my life really doesn't feel all that different, except I no longer share a 2-bed, 1-bath apartment with my roommate and my girlfriend, but now I share a 2-bed, 2-bath house with just my girlfriend, which also feels a little bit better. Maybe I'm not in the position to say it, but I don't think money will really change your happiness, so that's why I always choose to be grateful and appreciate the other people around me. I'm not a multi-millionaire or a billionaire or whatever, so I don't know what it's like to feel like that kind of person, but I think once you can be at the point where you feel comfortable enough just spending your money on the people that you care about in a way that you're covering your own necessities and maybe helping cover some of their necessities, you're going to have a lot of life satisfaction. Anyway, that's my story, and if you enjoyed it, definitely hit the subscribe button below so you can learn different ways that you can build your wealth and become financially free. And also like that button if you haven't already done so, and tap the notification bell if you want to get notified when I make videos like this. And if you guys like me here, don't forget to check me out on TikTok and Instagram, where I make a lot of the similar content but in short form. So thanks again for watching, and more wealth is coming your way.